How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today, I need to talk to you about the crypto market. Some really interesting things that have been happening recently, whether it's buying the dip, people buying the dip pretty significantly, money on the sidelines getting ready to buy the dip, some news out of China, which is actually fascinating about the Bitcoin crypto ban and really people not going away. And I want to update you on Terra Luna and their plan, or Do Kwon's plan to move forward, which is getting some pushback. So if you guys don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button, I appreciate that. If you've seen these videos before and liked them, consider hitting the subscribe button. There's also a link down there to FTX. I have two different links. This is the second link underneath the video. This is great for high volume traders. You can buy and sell a ton of different cryptos. You can also see that they have an NFT section where you don't have to pay gas fees, which is fantastic because if you're doing this a lot of the time, those gas fees can stack up. Or if you're just trying this out for the first time, you don't want to pay, a $20 gas fee. You can use this. You can also start to trade stocks here soon on their platform. Sam Bankman-Fried just bought a significant portion of Robinhood stock, so there's some speculation whether they might be integrating and working with Robinhood on this, but they say this is coming soon. So this might be the one-stop shop that we've all been waiting for to trade stocks and crypto and NFTs. So using the links underneath the video, you can get free crypto on trades over $10 and low transaction fees. Now, the Fear and Greed Index hit 8. 8 on the Fear and Greed Index is something that we haven't seen since the COVID crash. And people have money on the sidelines right now. I think that's really interesting to see how much money comes in when we do see dips. I mean, it took a couple of the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world to fall basically down to zero or fall 99% down to see any kind of a dip to the mid 20s. And even that was bought up really quickly. And now we're in the upper 20s. Now we're actually in the low 30s. A lot of people thought that we would dip further last year, but then we rallied and more than doubled. So I think a lot of people have money on the sidelines, and you can see that based on the exchange reserve. We had a ton of Bitcoin hitting exchanges when everyone was fearful and panicking about Luna and UST, and then it came right back off. We're actually lower than we were before this. So a lot of people are taking this time to stack sats. What's interesting too is the Bitcoin mining scene over in China is actually still alive and well. So last year, if you remember, in the summer, there's a lot of fear because China was banning Bitcoin mining, and this was like the 100th time that they had banned it. Okay, that's probably an exaggeration. Maybe the 10th or 20th time that they banned some kind of cryptocurrency business. Now, what's interesting is they actually fell down to about 0% in August and July. So if you remember, the hash rate fell down pretty significantly. However, they just had a new report that shows that about 22.3% of the hash rate was back in September, and then it fluctuated around 20% for October and January. So these miners didn't actually leave. They took them offline. Maybe they hid them better, and then they came right back online, which is fascinating. Imagine doing something and feeling so strongly about it that you would oppose the Chinese government to do it. Obviously, people just don't trust the Chinese government or don't trust their own currency, so they are willing to create a lot of problems for themselves just to have Bitcoin, which I think is fascinating. Obviously, some of this is probably funded by really wealthy individuals, maybe even by the government, who knows? But it is fascinating to see that people are taking this amount of risk to get their hands on Bitcoin. Now, speaking of people trying to get their hands on Bitcoin, we have something really interesting happening over the next few days. El Salvador's president, Bukele, is talking with 40 plus different countries. He's talking to their central bankers, government, about adopting Bitcoin. So if we start to have this domino effect where one more country comes in on top of the other two that have already accepted Bitcoin as legal tender, and then it's another one and another one and another one, I think this is bound to happen at some point, just a question of when. So Bitcoin itself is holding up really strong. Now, of course, we are up, like I said, over 30,000. The whole market is rallying a bit today, but I would not be surprised if we kind of fell back down until we have some good news. But you can see that people are sitting on the sidelines with money ready in case Bitcoin falls low enough. And some people just aren't willing to give up what they're doing in crypto because they see such a strong future, which I think is really good. If people are willing to do this, there's definitely a future for Bitcoin. And I already believe that, but that's just fascinating to see what people are willing to go to, what lengths people are willing to go to stay involved. Now, we talked about Luna and Terra a lot recently. There is an update on what's happening with them. So yesterday, Do Kwon suggested a hard fork, essentially giving people new tokens if they held the old tokens and changing around the ticker symbols. I did a full video on it yesterday. You can watch that a little bit more if you want. But a lot of people have been talking about this because they have cliffs. So you might be getting Luna or the new version of Luna, but you have to wait a year or several years to be able to sell it, which is interesting. They also talked about how they're not going to have UST. So this is quite interesting, and I will be making a video soon on whether I think Luna's good to buy or this new token is good to buy. But I think it's important to remember that none of this is set in stone. They actually did a vote to see how many people were in agreement of this versus not in agreement. And we actually have 90% of people that voted on this that said no. So a lot of people don't like this, and whether it's the new vesting schedule, whether it's the fork, whether it's the fact that UST holders aren't being made whole, which is something they've really done the opposite on in the past, right? Luna fell down so much. It would have fallen down anyways because of UST, but it fell down even more because they only cared about making UST holders whole because they inflated Luna so much. So when they were doing that, they didn't care about Luna holders at all. Now it's almost the opposite. They don't care about UST holders at all because UST holders don't really get anything if they sold before the fall, right? Only if you held on to UST this entire time, as I understand it, would you get any of these new tokens. So this is not great for anyone that's lost money in UST so far, but you never know what's going to happen. It seems like this is still being worked on. No one really likes this proposal, and we'll see what happens from here on out. The South Korean government also proposed summoning Do Kwon to the National Assembly. Sounds like he's going to have to answer for some of his thoughts and his opinions and what's happened. So just know this is a very fluid situation. If you're planning on investing in it, it's highly risky, which is something that I'm going to talk about more, whether it's a good time to buy or not, in my future video. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Definitely check out the links underneath the video to FTX and FTX US, and I will see you guys in the next video.